Is it possible that there are things that technology does better than humans? And are there things that humans do better than technology? Absolutely, yes.
Hello and welcome to episode 99 of the Smart Agents Podcast. My name is Michael Walter and I'll be your host. In today's episode, we are joined by Khaled Yatim, founder and CEO of Nile, to talk all about how agents should be embracing technology in order to stay relevant and ultimately thrive in today's market. After a successful career in real estate himself, he set out to develop a system that allows real estate professionals to deliver the ultimate end-to-end client experience by simplifying and streamlining residential real estate transactions, and that's where Nile began. Now, before we get on to today's featured interview, make sure to subscribe to the Smart Agents Podcast. You can find the show on all major podcasting platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and now Amazon Music. Also, if you or someone else on your team has an awesome story or tip to share with our community, send us a message at feedback@smartagents.com. We're always on the lookout for new stories to share. All right, let's get on to today's featured interview. I really enjoyed our conversation, and I hope you do as well. Really, the way I like to start everything out is if you could just introduce yourself a little bit to us, who you are, and tell us a little bit about Nile.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. My name is Khaled. I got my real estate license actually right out of high school. My parents are, my father is an engineer. My mom is an academic. So didn't have a lot of real estate blood in the family, but I had a yearning to get into it, right out of high school. I became the youngest broker of record in California when I was 20. And I went on to sell more than $500 million of real estate over the course of my career. And a couple of years ago, I discovered that there may be an alternative model to produce more volume for myself, to produce better consumer experience in real estate. And so we started kind of noodling around, a couple of us, and launched just actually in January our company Nile, which is an end-to-end transaction platform kind of built by agents for agents.
Right. So before we really dive into the platform and everything, I got to ask, being 20 and jumping into real estate, what was that like, and kind of getting your name out there?
It was interesting. Like I remember, I actually remember vividly at a conversation with my sister, kind of thinking about like, hey, I want to do this. I think my parents were a little bit reluctant, for me to kind of go down that path. And, I just thought, I really want to do this. And so I hooked up with the team. Teams were kind of new at the time, but, budding nonetheless, and hooked up with a team in the Bay Area, and just found a lot of instant success. I mean, I was rookie of the year my very first year. And just found a knack for it very, very quickly. And I loved it. It's real estate is it's a complex, it's a really complex, interesting thing. A friend of mine actually kind of the way he described it is like, if you have a real estate license, almost like you have a law license, but just to practice real estate. And I found a lot of interest in that slice.
Yeah. So, as you kind of progressed through your career, what was it that you saw that, led you to found Nile, and really what were the problems that you were trying to solve?
Yeah. I mean, it was interesting. I took a couple of years away from the brokerage business. I went into, I worked for a corporate investment bank doing mergers and acquisitions. And I came back from that, and I worked with a large U.S. builder to sell a master plan neighborhood in Los Angeles. And inside of that, I discovered a couple of things. One is when you have structured, streamlined processes like builders do, you're able to produce a heck of a lot more volume. And you're also able to deliver a much more elegant and streamlined consumer experience with so many opportunities for meaningful touch points along the way, opportunities for connection and dialogue and just building a long-term relationship. And I looked at all of the innovation that had affected the world over the last 10, 15 years, between ride sharing and streaming and all of these different mediums that took outmoded ways of doing things and just made them better. And real estate was still, grasping at a bit of archaicness. And I think that was really when I looked at this, and I just thought, rather than trying to hang on to the past, let's try and stay really relevant as agents in the future. And how do we do that? Let's create the product that we lived and would love to have working for us.
Right. So what is it that you've kind of developed that is doing that? That's creating those, that streamlined process to where you are having those meaningful conversations and meaningful interactions with clients?
Yeah. I mean, I think what we've done is we built an end-to-end real estate transaction platform where our genesis was, we fundamentally believe real estate is a human-to-human experience, pure, plain, and simple. But is it possible that there are things that technology does better than humans? And are there things that humans do better than technology? Absolutely, yes. So let's break apart a real estate transaction and let's figure out the elements that technology can better serve us in the process. And so we looked at a few things, and the very first thing was data collection, right? So, in a real estate transaction, whether it's Florida or, California or escrow title settled states, there's so many different vendors and players inside of a real estate transaction that are asking for the exact same information, right? So it's like people today are forced to write their name 100 different times and provide social security numbers, via email and, really foolish ways of doing things. So what we did is, step one is, let's ask questions and use ways to validate. So rather than asking somebody, do you have a loan? Let's detect if they have a loan. Let's detect all the things that we can detect and have them verify all the questions, ask supplemental questions. And then from there, let's automate all the reports, right? Let's get all the reports automated. So we're asking things in an intuitive way, and we're completing all the regulatory processes exactly the way that they should be. And so that was kind of phase one. Phase two was making sure that information was exchanged properly. So at the right time, documents would be exposed to the right party. So there's no more email exchange back and forth. You get things when you need to get them. We built negotiation technology, which became something that was very compelling for a lot of our investors, a lot of our new agents, brokerages. And what that's allowed us to do is to streamline the negotiation process. So we end up generating about 30% more offers for homes because we have a 5-minute digital mobile offer process that you can make on a home. Negotiation is done right online, agent to agent. The efficiency of being able to negotiate with all offers has allowed us to drive up prices by upwards of 5%. And then finally, we've integrated escrow and title into our software. So the time from contract to closing is cut down by at least a week and a half.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, and just when it comes to, just filling out that from the home buyer or seller's perspective, just filling out all that information. Yeah, it can get very frustrating to have to fill out the same thing over and over and over again. So just, providing agents with that tool that say, hey, you know what, it's all, you do it once, it's done. We're taking care of it. I think is great. What, when it comes to technology and these things, I think because of, obviously we're doing this over a virtual, medium right now. And over the last couple of years, things have become a little bit more virtual and more accepted. Do you see agents starting to adopt more technology into their businesses over the last few years?
Oh, now we're getting into the controversial stuff, the juicy things. The answer is yes, 100%. I mean, if you look, Michael, in the last 30 days, there have been more cracks and challenges to status quo real estate than in basically the last 30 years. The largest, most prominent U.S. lawyer, probably one of the most prominent lawyers in the world, just took aim at real estate commission. And I think that what you are going to see is that consumers, I think there's three dimensions. One is consumer preferences changing, regardless of what anybody says about, iBuyers. Opendoor is winning market share. Opendoor is winning market share, and agents need to understand that. And Opendoor is winning market share because Opendoor provides a better experience and a more transparent experience and a more 2022 experience. And I think that agents need to, the agents that are going to not only exist but thrive in a 2.0 world, are agents that are going to lean into technology and understand that they have to partner with technology to be super powerful. I think that you also have, my belief, whether it's right or wrong, is that the role of a buyer's agent is going to change. And I don't make the rules on that, but it looks very, very much like the role of a buyer's agent is potentially going to be diminished over the next 5 years. And what that means is listing agents are going to have to take more of the lion's share of the workload and the workflow, and we're going to have to develop systems and processes to be able to manage that a little bit more. I think that there's, with so many of the litigation impacts and so many of the consumer impacts that are kind of coming, I think that technology is finally going to play a role that it hasn't been able to in quite a long time.
Right. And, and talking about those iBuyers and those discount type things and the open, doors and all that, I think for agents, a great way to combat that is to embrace the technology, to use that to enhance their personal, connection. Now you don't have to spend as much of your time doing the finer detail things. You have that personal one-on-one connection to build those client experiences.
That's right. And let's not forget, Opendoor takes a big chunk of money from sellers, right? And so to me, exactly like what you said is, how can agents dominate in, against these big tech competitors? And the way to do that is exactly like what you said is, hey, I can sell your home using technology solutions. I can sell it for more money, and I can give you a really competent, clear, streamlined, transparent experience with visibility. And because real estate is a emotional transaction, and real estate agents are part of the fabric of community, I don't think anybody doesn't want to use a real estate agent at all. I think real estate agents are essential to this business. I think that good real estate agents, the future of top producing real estate agents, are tech enabled.
Right. Absolutely. And, it's one of those things where it's always evolving. So being constantly educated on what is coming down, what is happening, and what's going on is super important.
Yeah, I mean, entirely. I mean, there was a conversation that, happened, we talk with a lot of agents, and, there was one yesterday that I had listened in on, and, the agent has said, I use my transaction, I don't need technology because I use my transaction coordinator. I use this, or I use that, or, I don't want my client to have, I don't want my client to think it's easy. Right. And I understand, people have to make a living in this world, and there's nothing wrong with creating your own value and trying to make sure that that you get your fair share of things. I think that it's the folks that want to really grow their business, and who treat their business like a business, are the ones that are going to really thrive in the next 5 to 10 years of real estate. I think that the number of agents in the market are going to shrink, and I think the remainder are going to become better agents, doing more volume, producing greater incomes, more stable incomes, and that's that's the type of ecosystem we want to be a part of.
Right. So as you are, growing Nile and things that you're bringing on, what are some of the other things that you are hearing, that from your own past experience that you've brought in to it, but then also hearing from agents today that you're having these conversations with that are maybe you haven't necessarily they're not in the platform now, because obviously it's something that's going to grow. With technology, everything evolves and changes. So how do you guys kind of work on that to create more and more value with Nile?
I think that I think that as we try and create more value, I think listening to agents is one of the key things, right? Like there are plenty of things that I might have a different point of view on, but at the end of the day, it's the agents who should build our platform, and the agents that should build our product, and the agents that should build our next, feature or service sets. And I love that, because that means that like anytime you can get buy-in from folks, then that means that we're making a difference, and yes, we want to lead through innovation and we want to lead through things, but it only matters if people want to partner with us, on that journey. I listen to agents a lot about, we hear a lot about marketing, right? Like we hear a lot about marketing and how that's that's a really important segment of need for agents. And we try to change that a little bit and say, hey, there's a lot of leads out there. There's a lot of people that you're talking with. The challenge is that there's, generally 3 real estate agents for every one potential client. So rather than trying to fill your top of funnel, drive your conversion rates higher, beat your competition. I think that that's one of the things that I with the market ecosystem is I think agents are trying to compete with each other in exactly the same way. You can't do that. No other business in America competes like that. Every other business in America comes in and says, I do this better than my opponent, and therefore you should hire me over my competitor because of X, Y, and Z. And I think that for whatever reason, kind of the unionization of real estate, everybody's trying to say, I do the same things, but in a slightly nuanced way. And I think that what we're training agents to do is say, no, tell the world that you are exponentially better for this client than your competitor because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bullet points, and win 10 times more deals because you are asserting your own value. So that's what we're really talking about as far as trying to flip the script on hey, you're telling me you have this problem with marketing. How can we reframe that so we make you considerably more powerful using tools that are available for you today?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I see, one of these notes here is, talking about how you can win more listings. And that's got to be, the number one thing is positioning yourself as that, person of power and that person of, hey, we have the best for you.
That's right. And, I think for a long time, brokers have been saying, brokers of record have been saying, become a listing agent, become a listing agent, become a listing agent. I'm going to double down and triple down on that and say, if you don't become a listing agent, you will not exist in this industry in 5 years.
Oh. So, as you guys continue to grow, what are some of the other things that coming down the pipeline for you?
I think one thing that I saw this interesting statistic from I don't know, there's a term called liquidity as a service. So companies like Fly Homes or, the kind of buy before you sell. One of the things I thought was particularly interesting was in the market in the last 12 months, homebuyers that were using a liquidity as a service company made an average of 1 offer per home. Traditional, they made 9. So I think that that's a really interesting, I think that, a financial services component of real estate is really going to continue to flourish. And I think it's a terrific tool for agents to offer, to clients in the future. I think that we're looking at other things like leasing, and making, as as you see this kind of dynamic of the market, making things just more frictionless and kind of each and every silo of real estate, whether it's leasing or property management. Our goal is to just create a more frictionless experience where people can, agents can be subject matter experts, and they can just really serve their clients in a powerful way. And I think it'll depend on what the market tells us to do, and the market is changing. We see that very clearly, and it gives us a chance to continue to innovate, during any kind of slowdown that transpires.
Right. So how can agents that are listening to this and want to, check out more about Nile and really start working with the platform? How does that work?
Definitely. We're actually rolling out our brokerage agnostic software. So any agent at any brokerage will be able to use our software in just the next 6 weeks or so. So please reach out, and you can kind of get reach out for a demo. Our website is nilehome.com, NILEHOME. Our team would be happy to give you a demo of the software, and if it's the right fit for you, then you can become part of our early beta users, and look for more and more folks to be using it mid-year.
Awesome, man. I think it's always great, and really agents, they really need to understand, you have to embrace the technology if you're going to flourish in the future.
That's right. And, I want agents to win. I want agents I believe in the role of the real estate agent. I believe that real estate is a human to human experience. And I feel like the way for agents to just stay, essential in this, in this business, in this transaction, is to really partner with technology and allow it to really showcase and shine their talents. We all know that real estate agents do a hell of a lot of better things than technology does. Just look at Zestimate, right? There's no substitute for having a human to human interaction during the largest sale of your life that could very much be tied to a life event, right? And you want somebody to lead you and guide you. And, I haven't found any AI that solves that problem, right? And so I really believe that, real estate agents, should maintain and claim their power in this process. And I want to help them do just that, using the power of technology behind them.
Awesome. Well, we definitely really look forward to seeing, kind of what all you guys have to offer here, as time goes on, as things evolve.
Terrific. Thank you so much for having me, Michael. It's been a pleasure, and look forward to being back with you hopefully soon.
Absolutely. I really want to thank Khaled for joining us today, and I'm a firm believer in the fact that to be successful and compete with the likes of Opendoor, agents have to embrace streamlining technology in order to spend more time cultivating meaningful relationships with their clients. So once again, if you think you or someone else on your team has an incredible story or a tip to share with our community, send us a message at feedback@smartagents.com. Well, that wraps things up for this episode, but remember, follow the show wherever you listen to podcasts, and make sure to subscribe to the Smart Agents YouTube channel. Again, I'm Michael Walter, and we'll see you on the next episode.